Hey guys, it's me. It's Queen Auset-Heru, and thank you so much for being here and watching this edition of The Witch Trials. I hope you had a great weekend, and I want to tell you about this movie. This movie is so good. I saw this on Saturday. It was so cute. It's just a cute little movie, you know? Now I'm getting into my series of cute movies. I have a bunch of these. And I like it. You're getting ready to see a couple reasons why I liked it. But let me first tell you about the summary. The movie is called The Witch's Ball, and it came out in 2017. And this movie is basically about a young girl who is coming of age in the witching world, okay? Her mother is not a full-blood witch. She was not born a witch. In this world, you can be born a witch or you can become a witch. This young girl, her father was born a witch, and her mother is becoming a witch through education, basically learning and studying and things like that. So on the night of this witch's ball, her and her mother are both going to become witches, full-fledged witches at the same time. So the whole movie is about this ball. But the thing about it is that in the very beginning of the movie, she's also given a crystal ball. So when the title is referring to the crystal ball and the party ball, both of them that are going on simultaneously. So let me give you the summary. The young girl has a rival, a jealous rival, and her rival breaks her crystal ball. Every witch is given a crystal ball on their when they take their rites of passage. They're given a crystal ball. She's given hers earlier than all the other girls because she's the valedictorian, and she's supposed to take her crystal ball and use it for inspiration to write her valedictorian's speech. Okay? As she's coming out the classroom with the ball, the bully breaks the ball. Okay? So it's in three pieces. So she picks the ball up, takes it with her, and decides that she's going to use magic to put the ball back together. Apparently, this isn't an easy feat, and you have to go through quite a quest to do it. So we then get to watch her go through her quest to get the ball fixed. She goes to her cousin. Her cousin is really cool. I liked her cousin. Her cousin has a jack-o'-lantern, and the jack-o'-lantern is enchanted by magic. So he's snarky and, that kind of thing. But he knows a lot of stuff. So he tells her how to fix the crystal ball. So she has to find 3 different types of witches. In this universe, the witches have a category. So there are love witches, there are wise witches, there are courageous witches, brave witches. There are different kinds of witches. Her cousin is a brave witch. She doesn't know what kind she is yet because she hasn't taken her vows or, her rites of passage. And her mother, she doesn't know what kind her mother is. And then I think her father is a fun witch or something like that. So there are different kinds of witches. So she has to find one of each, and each one has to fix one piece of the crystal ball. So the rest of the movie, which is really short, is her journeying through getting the ball fixed. Going to this person, going to that person, and she has go through the woods and cast spells and, all this kind of stuff. And then we finally get to the evening of the big ball, and everybody's there, including her grandparents, who are basically non-magical, and they get to hang out with the magical people. So that's really fun. And you get to see the speeches, and it's a nice ball. And at the end, everything comes together, and her mom become brand new witches, and all is right with the world. So I love this movie. This is a movie to watch with your kids or your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, this kind of thing. It was so cute. I was just like, oh, this is adorable. All right, so let me tell you the vices. Now, because this movie was not very long, I don't have a lot, but I have a couple things here that were definitely Hollywood. There were talking animals throughout this movie. The rat could talk. there was just constantly talking animals, and I was just looking like somebody had like this little monkey. The monkey could talk. It was just like in the real world, our animals don't talk. A lot of witches I know have a familiar. That's an animal that is their special pet. And witches have always had familiars. Some people believe that the familiar carry messages for the witches. They had all kinds of beliefs. But basically, a lot of us do have a familiar. This is a special animal that we take care of. And so it's normal, them having the animals was normal, but they don't talk. That was the part that was extremely exaggerated. They have a witches news channel. So it's a channel that only witches watch. And we don't have one of these. This would be really cool, but you can't watch it unless you're a witch. So nobody else would even know about it anyway. But basically, there's a channel that only witches can see, and it gives the news about what's happening in the witching world. And our witching world isn't nowhere near this organized. So this would be a cool idea, but we would have to be more organized and more cohesive, and we're not. We come from different traditions, different countries. You know, some of us are solitary and worship by ourselves. So this really doesn't happen. Then they had more magical creatures. Of course, some of them could talk. There was a Yeti, which I was like, okay. There was a talking pumpkin that I told you about earlier. I don't know how this pumpkin started talking. The fireflies, they didn't talk, but they could lead you to where you wanted to go. And I thought it was really cute because the rat was like, I don't trust anything that its butt glows. I was cracking up because the firefly, his booty glows, and the rat was like, nah, I don't trust that. But it was really cute, and the fireflies were helpers. And then there was also a mermaid. The mermaid was cute. I loved her makeup and everything. And she didn't speak English, so that was kind of interesting, them trying to sign language basically with her. That was cute. But none of these creatures are real or can be proven to be real. Some people believe the Yeti is real and that mermaids are real, but we don't have any proof, put it like that. And I think if mermaids were real or if the Yeti was real, we might have found a corpse by now, but I could be wrong. So we have to put them under vices because they can't be proven to be real. They travel by closet. It was so cute. In order to travel places, they just went into their closet and they poof, ended up wherever they were going. In Harry Potter, they did something very similar, but they did it in the fireplace. And you had to use this flue powder and you threw it into the fire and poof, you would go wherever you were going. So in this case, it was a closet, a traveling closet. Of course, there were witches there that could fly. It can't be a witch movie unless you see somebody flying on a broom. So they were flying around. They were flying to the ball and flying where they wanted to go. Again, we can't travel by closet and we can't fly, which would be wonderful, but we can't. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vices. Okay. Now, the things about it that were accurate that I actually liked. Number one, they had herbs. They were using herbs, making potions. We absolutely do that all the time. She would cast spells and they rhymed. My favorite spells are the ones that rhyme. Whenever I write a spell, I write it that it rhymes. You don't have to, but I love it. I'm a poet and I love the repetition and the rhyme. I love it. They had lots of crystals. They had a crystal ball, witches really do use crystals. I have a lot of crystals. I'm just looking around. I'm like, they're everywhere. And I have a crystal ball. They use wands. We do use wands, some of us, and some of us don't. But it is normal to see a witch with a wand. There's the annual witches ball. We do have an annual witches ball. And it depends on what city that you're in, because the annual witches ball is typically on Halloween, but it doesn't have to be. And the annual witches ball is different for every organization, but usually it's around Halloween. I know they do one in Salem, they do one in New Orleans. They do them all over, the country that I know of, and maybe in other countries too. But I was going to go one year, but I ended up not going. But basically, what happens is that the witches come and they, you wear your costume, whatever you want to wear. Generally, people wear like a witch, more of a traditional witching looking costume, and they come to the witches ball. So if you Google witches ball, you will see in different cities, in different states, witches balls. And anybody can go. And in this case, in the movie, only witches can go. But in real life, anybody who buys a ticket can go. But if you're not into paganism, I think you might be kind of bored because all the activities and everything are geared towards pagans. For example, they have like a ritual that they do, at midnight or something like that, things along those lines. They even have like people who come in and do like all kinds of dancing and things like that, which isn't specific to witchcraft, but they might have on like witchy costumes, and the vendors will be selling pagan items like wands and things like that. So if you're not really into that, you probably just be bored. The witches are living in secret in the movie. And that's kind of true because many of us are open. Many of us talk about our craft and things like that. But remember, there's still a great deal of hatred. There's still a great deal of bigotry towards those of us who are pagans. I can't even tell you how many times some Christian or some person from some religion told me I was going to hell. It happens all the time. And most of the time, I'm more devout than they ever will be. A Christian who doesn't go to church, doesn't read the Bible, hardly ever prays, will tell somebody like me, I'm going to hell. Who prays continuously, meditates every single day, has nothing but reverence and love and respect for the goddess. Nothing but, that kind of person to tell me, the devout one, that I'm going to hell. So it happens all the time. So many witches, because of that, do live in secret, and they don't tell people what they do. So you could know several witches, or maybe even just one, and not know that they're a witch. Because the way that we worship, if you like to have an altar or something like that, you don't have to have it out in the open. It can be in a closet. It could be a portable altar. It doesn't have to be something like mine is a stationary altar. When you walk into my bedroom, the first thing you see to the right is altars, But some people aren't that open with this, so they will put them in the closet, or they'll have a portable one. They use it for ritual, then they put it away. So a lot of people know witches and don't even know. So there are a lot of us in what they call the broom closet, is what they call it. The next one says witches from different cultures. In the movie, there were witches from different cultures. There were all kinds of them. I like the diversity of the movie. I really liked it. It was a witch in a wheelchair. I noticed in one scene, there was black witches, white witches. There was witches from different parts of the world. I love the diversity in this movie. I've noticed that some of the later movies for kids I've been seeing have been celebrating diversity. I saw it in this movie. I saw it in Disney. Disney has this franchise called Descendants. And when I was watching Descendants, I saw a lot of different people of different races. And I was like, okay, because normally you don't see that in these kinds of movies. So I was glad to see that. So you saw all kinds of witches from different cultures in this movie. One of the things I love the most about this movie is that at the end, the message is driven home that love is the most powerful magic there is. And I truly believe that. I've been doing magic for a long time. And one of the things that makes magic work is emotion. So the more emotion you put into your work, the more feeling you put into your work, the more of a chance that your energy is going to work. So if you are doing something because you love something or someone truly, unconditionally, not just want to possess or control them, then that is the strongest magic that I've ever been around. Love can move people in ways that nothing else can. So I loved it. At the end of the movie, come to find out her mother is a love witch, which is exactly what she needed to finish the spell that she wasn't able to finish on her journey. So it was like, after all of this, the power of love is what brought everything back together. So I thought that was a beautiful message. And each witch has an area of expertise. Like I said, there's the love witches, the brave witches. So each one has their area of expertise. In real craft, all of us are gifted in different ways. So it's not so much like a brave one or a love one or things like that. But some of us are, like for instance, I'm gifted in divination. I'm gifted in candle magic, you know. Another witch might be gifted in kitchen witchery, which is like using, potions and things to make food, you know. Another witch could be gifted in reading crystal balls. We're all different in what we're gifted in. So even though the categories aren't the same, we do have we're broken up into what we're good at. Some witches like to do a little bit of everything, you know. But usually if you know a real witch, there's certain areas that they're strong in and certain things that they really gravitate towards. Like I really gravitate towards divination. I really gravitate towards doing readings. I really gravitate towards that kind of thing. Now my thing is always tarot and oracle cards. But some people who might be, gravitating like I am, their thing could be crystal balls. Their thing could be using a pendulum. There's all kinds of ways to do divination. And like I said, some people are better at potions than others. Some people, their candle magic never really works for them, but they can do water magic better or earth magic. So there are things that some of us are better at than others, just like any human being. Some human beings can sing and some cannot. It's the same thing with the witches. Some of us are gifted in certain areas and certain areas we're not so much. So based on what I just said, there are 5 vices and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 virtues in this movie. 5 out of 9. And I'm going to give this movie a B- based on that. Because basically, I like this movie. It's an adorable movie. There's a lot of witchcraft in it. There's a lot of real stuff that we actually do. The only problem is, the reason why it has a B- instead of like maybe a B or an A- is because all of those the 5 things I mentioned made it kind of cheesy, you know? And it's supposed to be, I think, cheesy, a cute little sweet movie. You know, it's not supposed to be serious and heavy. It's supposed to be lighthearted. So it's supposed to be cheesy. So I give it a B- because it reaches its goal. You know, it's a cute movie. It's a little bit cheesy. It reaches its goal, but it also has a lot of witchcraft in it. And for those of you who watched my review on Bewitched, there was almost no witchcraft in that movie. So for there to be so much witchcraft in this movie was good. To see the herbs, to see the potions they were making with the herbs, to see the crystals, you know. It was good to at least see some stuff that we actually do use in a movie that was so short. So I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very delightful. I thought it was very pleasing. And I give it, like I said before, a B- for all those reasons. And I think that if you have small kids and you want to try and explain what paganism is, this could be a wonderful way to explain what it actually is. And just point out the parts that are Hollywood. Point out the special effects. You know, there's a lot of special effects in this movie. So point out the special effects, but point out to your kids or to your nieces or grandchildren or whatever, the parts that are real, and explain the message to them, you know. In this movie, we get to see that, you know, like I said before, love is the most powerful magic. So even if you just use it to illustrate that, it was well worth watching. So I loved it, and I'm going to be back next week with another movie. And I thank you so much for watching The Witch Trials. I thank you for being a patron. I thank you for being around, and I give you my love and I give you my support. And I hope to see you very soon, because I have a lot more to say. See you guys later. Bye-bye.